Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon FireRed. In the last part we started adventure through the Sevii Islands to taking care of the 7th gym, and now we're continuing through Mount Ember. I had to cut this place a little bit short last part, because I was actually afraid of how long the recording would go on if I continued much further, as we're coming up on our first of a few special fights in the game. Also, there's an item I actually can't grab here because I refuse to use Rock Smash here in FireRed Leaf Green, unless completely necessary. I believe it's a Firestone on the right, but it might be a Max Elixir or some type of other item. I actually can't recall off the top of my head. It's not too important. You also need strength to get it, so no thank you, double HMing. But here at the top of Mount Ether is something that was moved from its original position in the original Gen 1. It was in the endgame area in Gen 1, but now it's here. Our first legendary Pokemon. One-of-a-kind Pokemon per save file that are the subjects of legends, as the name would imply. And I hate these things. They're good Pokemon, I just hate catching them. Starting off here, we got Moltres. Fire flying types, so it's weak to rock, water, and electric, 4 times weak to rock in specific. It's got a decent attack and special attack stat, especially since fire was special in this generation. It can be pretty good. I forget its exact moveset off the top of my head. I want to say it has agility, some of the fire attacks, maybe flamethrower. I can't recall off the top of my head. The big thing is it also has the ability pressure, which means any move you use uses double the PP it would otherwise. So instead of having 10 uses of strength with Scott right now, I have 5. Okay, yeah, flamethrower. The thing is with legendary Pokemon is that they are incredibly hard to catch. Their catch rate is nearly universally 3, which is a catching percentage of about 1.6, if I'm recalling correctly. And that's for each Pokeball shake, might I add, including capturing, so you have like 4 checks, I think that is. For comparison's sake, if I'm recalling correctly, Rattata's catch rate is 255, which is about a 1 in 2 chance for each shake. In optimal conditions, that is. Even with low HP, putting paralysis on it using like Thunder Wave, for instance, with Andrew rather, and Ultra Balls, I was here for about 20 minutes. And I ran out of Ultra Balls a few times, and what I did in that case was I just reloaded my save and redid the fight. Given that my stats are where they are and Moltres are where they are, thankfully the fight is relatively consistent early on, barring maybe critical hits. But capturing legendary Pokemon is a pain. There's a reason that some capturing videos for legendaries go on for over 30 minutes, depending on the legendary and the game. Personally speaking, after about 3 or 4 Pokeballs, I'm just going to jump cut to the successful one 20 minutes later, because I don't want to waste your time with that. I want to get stuff done. Moltres, though, is pretty good. It's a decent fire type for the generation. I, however, have a bit of a personal rule. I don't like using legendaries on my teams unless required by story, which once, maybe twice in the series off the top of my head, so you're never seeing these things again. Some people would say just to use the Master Ball on it. I'm not going to. I have a specific use for my Master Balls, always. I also used an absurd amount of Ultra Balls, so I had to buy up to another 30, which costs about 12,000-ish? 20,000? I forget the exact amount. Either way, a lot. Thankfully, money isn't too hard in this game to get. And with that, welcome to 2 Island, because our business on 1 island is concluded. There's a couple items I just outright can't grab here, because I don't want to have Cut in my party anymore. There's a couple of those for each of these islands, actually. 2 and 3 Island in specific. Also, this guy sells some items, but there's nothing to him right now. He gets more when you beat the game, and even more after you beat the game's rematches with the endgame stuff. The important thing is, the item I'm missing here by not having Cut is a Revive. This guy's the Pokemon Move Maniac. In post-game, you can find tiny and huge mushrooms, primarily in Mount Moon on the rocks near where the Parises were. And you can basically learn any move a Pokemon can learn while growing up from him. I think even relearn them, too. Now, where's Lostelle gotten to today? She always brings me lunch every day right about now. You there, you a friend of Lostelle's? Have you seen Lostelle around? I don't know where she might be. She should have been here long ago. Lostale's a cutie. She's got my looks, so what if something's happening to my Lostale? Please, help me find her. Please go search 3 Island. Huh? What is this game corner? How much sadder can this get? Those clowns, they said they'd be waiting on the island, so where are they? Hey you, is this the only 3 Island around here? Try waking up before you crawl out of bed, you punk. This is 2 Island. Move it, get your filthy motorbike out of my place. Huh. Oh, gotcha. These islands are confusing. Why'd you go look at that? That punk's on top of my floor. Alright, so when we eventually finish our business here in the main stuff for Sevii Islands, that does become a proper game corner, but not in the standard way. It becomes the joyful game corner, which is for wireless adapter minigame stuff. There's a Dodrio picking minigame where 3 to 5 Dodrio line up and you collect as many possible berries before time runs out. And Pokemon Jump, which is basically jump rope, where you just synchronize with other Pokemon to earn points at the time limit. And here at the top of Cape Brink is this particular move tutor. She will teach your starter their ultimate elemental attack. Frenzy Plant for grass types, Blast Burn for fire types, and Hydro Cannon for water types. Each of them has 5 PP and 150 PP with about 90 accuracy. They're good, but again, if you recall me saying back last part, I don't like my moves to have that low PP count. And on that route, you can basically encounter most of the enemies we saw elsewhere on the grass in that on Island 1 even. The only big addition is that in the water, via fishing or just in the grass, you can encounter Slowbros in the wild. Which, yeah, I guess that's cool. And with that, welcome to 3 Island. There's actually another couple items I can't get here. A PP up and a zinc because I don't want to put cut onto my party once again. This is, I want to say this might be the most populated island out of the Sevii Islands. Off the top of my head, at least, I actually can't recall much about the latter 4 that we can't get to until we beat the game right now. Are you the boss? Go back to Kanto right now. Ah, I just got you, pal. What's with the hostile attitude? It's mighty cold of you. Your gang of followers have been raising havoc on their bikes. Do you have any idea how much trouble they've caused us on the island? No, man, I don't get it at all. Look at this place. What do you do for entertainment? You ought to be thanking us for livening up this sleepy village. But hey, if you insist, you can try making us leave. You cowards, so tough in a pack. I volunteer. Alright, so we have, I think it's 4 battles in a row here against biker subtype trainers. That means you're fighting more or less a lot of poison types. I think coughings, mucks, wheezings, and grimers are the most common here. Ultimately, if you have a ground type, there's not much to fear here. Just use dig over and over again. Or, well, no, you can't have earthquake yet unless there's a ground type I'm forgetting that can learn it by leveling up. It's not much to worry, and I don't think you have to restart the chain of 4 fights if you lose to any of them somehow, so go all out. I do find it interesting that they call these bikers biker goons, though. They're the only biker subtypes without a proper name. Which just is kind of weird, because usually the only subtypes of trainers that don't have names to themselves are the teams. And so they're clearly not a team. Well, they're a team, but they're just a group of pals having fun. Boss, I'm telling you, you've got to do something about this kid. I've been watching you, and I'd say that you've done enough. What are you, their friend or something? Then I guess he'll be battling me in their place. Alright, so this guy's technically a boss fight, so I'm going to show him. I want to say his team is just comprised of a Weezing and a Muck. Again, Psychic, Ground, anything that can do a lot of damage very quickly to these things, you don't have to worry too much. Can't use ground attacks on this Weezing, though, off the top of my head, because I believe it has Levitate. This is about as deep as the plot gets in the Sevii Islands, at least for the first main game stuff, which admittedly makes the Sevii Islands kind of feel like they're tacked on, and admittedly they are, because they weren't in the original game at all. They just wanted to squeeze in some new content in the main story where they could. And it's the best they could have done, I guess. Between this and the fact that this is just Gen 1 and Gen 3 mechanics, almost makes this closer to a remaster if it weren't for this stuff. At least in my definitions of remake, port and remaster. But it at least helps the leveling curve a little bit. Because in the original game, you went from the Cinnabar Gym straight to the Viridian Gym. And the level curve there can be a bit harsh, admittedly. Comparatively, at least. I'm still going to be a little bit ahead, I think, until the end game area. But, there's a weird difficulty thing with Pokemon where they're overall easy games, but you can still beat the game rather competently at between, like, 5 to 10 levels lower than the opponent Pokemon if you use, like, the X-Attack items effectively and know your type advantage as well as abilities. Personally, I like to be about the same level as the opponents I'm facing, but inevitably doing that in the games also makes me overlevel a little bit, which admittedly, at the same time, doesn't make the game too much harder because the same thing with type difficulty and type advantages that you can pull, so can they. Because the computer, I believe, does try to go for super effective moves. They just have a hard time doing it sometimes, depending on what Pokemon you throw out. Like, an example of this can be seen in my old Crystal LP, which is admittedly outdated in a lot of ways, where I went after, if I'm recalling correctly, I went after the final boss 10 levels lower, I want to say. Like, level 70, I want to say was my average. That sounds right. Because if I'm recalling correctly, the average levels for the final boss in Gen 2 is about 76 to 80. So, yeah, 10 levels lower and I beat it. That sounds about right. Hell, if I remember, it's been like 6 years. I tend to remember a lot of what I do on the channel in terms of what games I played. But sometimes the details are a little foggy. Alright, enough. We'll leave like you wanted. We'll be happy to see the last of this boring island. Huh, yeah, go right on hanging around these hay seeds. Alright, and we saved the island. Oh yeah, right, there's a missing child. But we do get a free full restorer for beating them. That is the best restoration item in the game. It is the best way I can describe it is a max potion, which restores your HP completely, plus a full heal, which restores all status ailments. It's the be-all, end-all of healing in the game. We can't buy any until right before the end of the game, but it's worth it to get a couple now. Also, I do want to buy out your stock of Ultra Balls. Thank you. And goodbye. Alright, now let's continue on to the west. After I apparently investigate this particular house. Ghosts at Berry Forest? Ooh, sounds cool. I don't know why, but I have very distinct memories of grinding on this next route, Bond Bridge. There are 2 items that I, for some reason, can never find here, despite the fact I know they're there. There is a pearl somewhere on the sand to the west, as well as a piece of stardust near a bridge to the west of us. Stardust is another wholesale item that's only really good for selling, by the way. I want to say it sells for like 3,000? 1,000, I say, looking at Bulbapedia. In terms of Pokemon you can find on this route, you can find Pidgeys, Oddish, Bellsprouts, Pidgeotos, Glooms, Weepinbells, Meowths, Venonats, Meowth's Evolution, Psyduck, Slowpoke. Tentacool and Tentacruel exists while surfing, and it's the usual shebang while you're fishing, barring one new Pokemon we'll be seeing here anyway. Speaking of new Pokemon, this is Krabby, pure water type. Weak to grass and electric. Really high physical attack, if I recall correctly, and some decent physical defense, but its special stats are absolute trash. In the generation where water moves are all special. Starting from Gen 4 onwards, this is a decent enough water Pokemon, honestly. But Gen 3 and prior, it's... no. Just no. Especially considering I think it can learn Ice Punch starting from later generations, and that started being a physical move in Gen 4. And these little jump cuts are me trying to find the 2 items I know are supposed to be here, but I can't find for some reason. Oh well. Oh, hello out there, swimmer. You look like you need to be talked to because you're a Pokemon trainer I want experience points. Give me. This one also does have a new Pokemon, though. This particular swimmer has Kingler. This is the evolution of Krabby starting from level 28. Still a pure water type, so grass and electric are the ways to go. Its defenses, its physical attack and defense are even higher than they were as Krabby. And I think it gains some speed, but its special stats are still absolute trash. Again, Gen 4 onwards where there's some physical water moves. Excellent, excellent water type Pokemon for that. Still not to my tastes. Because I do have a penchant, I suppose, to use a lot of special type moves in my Pokemon. I don't know why. I want to say it might be because that way I can avoid moves like abilities like Static that cause special status ailments upon using physical type attacks. But honestly, I'd be lying if I said if I knew that for a fact, because I tend to just play Pokemon by ear usually. And with that, welcome to Berry Forest. This place's gimmick is that there's berries hidden all over the place in the little marked pieces of grass. And they do regrow occasionally. So if you're trying to get some berries for competitive stuff for some reason in Gen 3 at a point where we're already in Gen 8, you could come here and farm some out every now and then. Almost every single variety that's like notable for status ailments does grow here. But you just have to check back occasionally. There is also notably a max elixir I can't get here because I need cut for it. And I'll be damned if I have cut with me. Pokemon you can encounter here is more or less the same as Bond Bridge, but more. Pidgeotto, Gloom, Weepinbell, I think some of the Oddish line, Drowsy, Slowpoke. It's more or less the same as what you've seen. We can also encounter Venonats here, I suppose. I think I used to try and catch one here for some reason when I was a kid. And the surfing and fishing Pokemon, I believe, are the exact same as, like, the Cape on 2 Island. Even when I was a kid, I found this area a little bit odd. I don't know exactly how to explain it. Maybe it's the fact it's very much just a recolor of Viridian Forest. Maybe it's the oddly linear nature even for Pokemon standards. I don't know. Well, standards at the time, at least. Down here is where the max elixir is on the other side of this particular little pond here, turning into Carl Sagan. But our goal is in the northwestern corner because, I remember, we were looking for a kid, right? I totally didn't get off topic. Oh, please help! A scary Pokemon there appeared a while ago. It kept scaring, it made Lostel scared. I'm too scared to move, but I want to go home. Oh, here it comes again. No, go away, it's scaring me! Ah, I want my daddy! And this is why you don't have 20-year-old men with deep voices voice kids. Alright, we have a boss fight against a Hypno. It's just a Hypno, nothing too special. High special defense, as I mentioned back when I was talking about this in the Drowsy line. Just go physical. Bite's really good for this. Hypno started getting a weird little tendency to be a kidnapper like this. I want to say the anime started it, then like the Pokemon Adventures manga accentuated it, and then this happened, and now it's just forever the child kidnapper, which... Poor Hypno. I admit it's creepy looking, but damn. Oh, that was so scary, thank you. Lostel came to pick some berries. You can have this. And we get the Iapapa berry. I don't remember what that does, nor do I really care. Let's just take Lostel home. So you rescued Lostel. How can I thank you? Lostel, darling, forgive me. Daddy didn't know you were scared and in trouble. It's okay, Daddy. I got to be friends with Kyle. And for some reason, I always think there's going to be more dialogue there. Oh, what's that? You're saying that this is for me? How did you know that I love rare rocks and gems? You should know how to make a guy happy. Alright, take this meteorite. Oh, I see. This is from Bill. You have to thank him for me. You know, you've been fantastic. I want you to have this. Free moonstone. Thanks, I guess. It's not like those aren't already relatively common. And now, when we come back here, I want to say in post-game, that game corner can be used for the multiplayer shenanigans. that I don't care to use. I can technically show it off to the VBA Link emulator that I used to trade the last part, but why? One of them needs 3 Pokemon trainers anyway. Oh, hey, Kyle! What kept you so long? Been out having a good time? We got it done. The PCs are up and running. The job went incredibly quick. Bill is one amazing guy. No, there was almost nothing left for me to do. Celio, I have to hand it to you. You've learned a lot. Oh, really? Well, there you have it. I'm finished with the job. We should head back to Kanto. Celio, I'll be seeing you again. Kyle, I'm really sorry that we sent you off alone today. I promise I'll show you around these islands sometime. Goodbye, Sevii Islands. I'll see you again in post-game. Hey, wasn't that a long cruise? My buddy Celio seemed to enjoy your company. I'm sure he'd welcome you if you were to visit him again. If you have a tri-pass, you can always take a ferry there from Vermilion Port. Alright, thanks for your company. Alright, so now we can get back to plot, but not. First off, I should show you that, yes, you can now come down here to the Vermilion Port and directly go to 1, 2, or 3 islands with the tri-pass. But for now, let's head back to, I believe this is Route 10? And I want to, first off, come here and talk to this Professor Oakshade because I might as well grab the Everstone while I'm here. And I am here for one particular reason. We caught Moltres earlier this part, but there's a couple of other legendary Pokemon we can catch before going off towards the end game portion. We're going to spend more or less the entirety of next part doing just that. So if you're here for plot progression to Viridian Gym, come back in part 19. Because just south of this particular Pokemon Center, there is a new portion of the route we weren't able to get to before. As well as a Pokemaniac that has a new Pokemon. His second Pokemon is Lickitung, a normal Pokemon, which means it is just weak to fighting. It's got a decent HP stat, and that's about it. It was just kind of there. I think the only way you can even get one of these in the game is by trading it for a Slowbro over... Oh no, Slowbro and Leaf Green, I think it's a Golduck here in FireRed, over in the Route 18 gate. It's nothing too spectacular. I don't think it got okay until its evolution showed up in Gen 4, I think that was. But this here is the Kanto Power Plant. And with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in Part 18, Side Quests. See you guys then.